When the enemy finally approached the warrior, nobody wanted to make the first move. He was covered in wounds, surrounded by fallen foes, and still blocking the only path forward. Then someone stepped closer and realized something impossible. The warrior was no longer alive. That is just one of 7 ultimate last stands where a single fighter held back an entire army. Before we begin, a small warning. The older these stories get, the more history blends with legend. Where an account is disputed, exaggerated, or preserved mainly through tradition, I'll point it out. Honestly, the well-documented stories are already wild enough. 7. Benkei. Late in the 12th century, Japan suffered a bitter family dispute. One brother becoming shogun somehow ended with the other being hunted across the country. Bound to him was Minamoto no Yoshitsune, one of the most famous commanders of the Genpei War. Traveling alongside him was a warrior monk named Benkei. According to legend, Benkei was gigantic, heavily armed, and not particularly interested in quiet reflection. Before meeting Yoshitsune, he allegedly challenged samurai around Kyoto, taking their swords after defeating them. He gathered 999 blades before losing twice to Yoshitsune, who was smaller, faster, and surprisingly good at humbling a giant. Benkei accepted defeat and became Yoshitsune's most loyal retainer. That loyalty faced its ultimate test at Koromagawa in 1189 when enemies surrounded their position. With escape impossible, Yoshitsune retreated inside to prepare for death. Benkei moved to the narrow approach and took the only useful job left: make sure nobody reached his master quickly. Attackers charged, Benkei drove them back. More followed, failing just as miserably. The exact body count belongs to legend, but the image that survived is what matters. The enemy grew so terrified of facing him directly that archers were ordered to shoot him from a distance. Arrows struck Benkei again and again, yet he did not fall. The attackers waited in suspense. Still, nothing moved. Finally, several men crept forward and discovered why he had stopped responding. Benkei had died while remaining upright. His body was held in place purely by his stance and weapon. Whether every detail happened exactly that way is impossible to prove, but Japan remembered it as the standing death of Benkei. He turned his own body into one final delay. That is loyalty without an off switch. 6. Horatius Cocles. More than 16 centuries before Benkei, Rome had its own legendary bridge story. Early Romans apparently believed every national emergency required at least one man behaving like a marble statue with severe anger issues. Around 508 BC, the Etruscan king Lars Porsena advanced on Rome. His troops seized the Janiculum Hill and rushed toward the wooden Sublician Bridge, a major route across the Tiber River. If the Etruscans crossed, the city was doomed. The Roman defenders panicked and began retreating across the span. One officer, Horatius Cocles, refused to run. Ancient accounts disagree on the finer details. In the best-known version, 2 other Romans initially stood beside him while engineers began destroying the bridge from the Roman side. Nested in the narrow crossing, the 3 men used the terrain perfectly. The Etruscans had overwhelming numbers, but numbers matter little when only a few people can attack at a time. Horatius shouted insults, challenged enemy nobles, and held the front while the bridge came apart behind him. When destruction was nearly complete, his companions retreated. Horatius remained completely alone. Now he had an army in front of him, a collapsing structure behind him, and a rushing river beneath him. He dove into the Tiber and tried to swim back to his side while missiles rained around him. Later versions say he reached safety and was rewarded with land and a statue. Another tradition claims he drowned. Historians remain cautious because the story was written down long after the event, becoming core Roman mythology. Yet the tactical idea is completely sound. One determined defender on a narrow bridge can make a massive force wait its turn. And waiting your turn is far less appealing when the guy at the front keeps stabbing everyone. 5. Thomas-Alexandre Dumas. In 1797, the French Revolutionary Army was fighting Austrian forces in the Alps. Among its leaders was General Thomas-Alexandre Dumas, father of the famous novelist Alexandre Dumas, and the future inspiration behind iconic fictional heroes. Dumas was born in Saint-Domingue to a French nobleman and an enslaved woman of African descent. He moved to France, enlisted as a common cavalryman, and rose rapidly through the ranks during the revolution. He was tall, powerful, an exceptional horseman, and known to lead directly from the front. In March 1797, near the town of Clausen, Dumas was engaged in fierce fighting around a bridge over the Isac River. During the action, his horse was shot out from under him and his aide was gravely wounded. Dumas found himself on foot as Austrian cavalry closed in. Instead of retreating, he used his dead horse as partial cover and fought off attackers with his sword. The narrow bridge restricted the Austrians' movement, forcing them into a tight space. Dumas held them off long enough for French troops to rally and return. He was struck multiple times by sabers, but survived. His heroics earned him the nickname, the Horatius Cocles of the Tyrol. Dumas continued serving, but his relationship with Napoleon deteriorated. After returning from Egypt, he was imprisoned in southern Italy, and his health collapsed. He passed away in 1806, leaving his family with little support. His son later transformed those very themes, betrayal, imprisonment, revenge, and impossible resilience, into classic literature. 4. Dipprasad Pun. Jump forward to Afghanistan in 2010. Acting Sergeant Dipprasad Pun of the Royal Gurkha Rifles was stationed at a patrol base near Babaji in Helmand Province. One night, Pun was alone at a rooftop checkpoint when insurgents surrounded the position. Estimates placed the attacking force between 12 and 30 fighters, armed with rifles and RPGs attempting to breach the compound. Believing he was going to die, Pun decided to make the attackers' night as miserable as possible. He unleashed a machine gun, switched to his rifle, threw grenades, and detonated a claymore mine. Over the fight, he fired roughly 250 machine gun rounds, 6 rifle magazines, and threw 17 grenades. It was pitch darkness, chaotic explosions, and one defender trying to cover every angle at once. At one point, an attacker tried climbing onto the roof. Pun attempted to hit him with a sandbag, but the bag burst open. With his ammunition nearly gone, he grabbed the heavy metal tripod of his machine gun and used it to beat the attacker back. After roughly 17 minutes, the assault collapsed. Pun had single-handedly prevented the position from being overrun, saving the 3 soldiers inside. He received the Conspicuous Gallantry Cross. His summary was simple. He was surrounded, he was alone, and fighting was the only option available. 3. Lachhiman Gurung. In May 1945, another Gurkha rifleman faced improbable odds in Burma. Lachhiman Gurung was serving with the 8th Gurkha Rifles near Tongda. His post guarded a crucial jungle path leading into his platoon's position. That made it vital, and the exact target for over 200 Japanese soldiers. Shortly after midnight, grenades rained into Gurung's trench. He caught the first and hurled it back. He returned the second. The third exploded right in his hand. The blast blew off his fingers, shattered his arm, and severely wounded his face and body. The 2 comrades beside him were also critically injured. Gurung was now alone, mangled, and blocking the main attack route. He refused to yield. Unable to use his right hand, Gurung racked and fired his bolt-action rifle exclusively with his left. Every single shot required him to chamber, aim, and fire while bleeding from catastrophic wounds. The enemy charged repeatedly through the dark. Gurung waited until they were close before firing, keeping the path blocked for 4 hours. When daylight broke, 31 enemy soldiers lay dead in front of his position. Had they broken through, the entire platoon would have been flanked. Gurung survived, was awarded the Victoria Cross, and lived until 2010. He lost a hand in the fight, but the advancing army lost the battle. 2. Leo Major. Leo Major was a French-Canadian soldier who landed in Normandy on D-Day. Shortly after, a phosphorus grenade severely damaged his left eye. Medics wanted to send him home, but Major refused. He insisted that as a sniper, he only needed one good eye anyway. By April 1945, Major had survived a mine blast and single-handedly captured 93 German soldiers during the Battle of the Scheldt. Then, he and Corporal Wilfred Arsenault were sent to scout the Dutch city of Zolle. Their mission was purely reconnaissance, assess the garrison, contact the resistance, and report back. Outside the city, Arsenault was killed by machine gun fire. Grieving and enraged, Major gathered his friends' weapons and proceeded into the city alone. Throughout the night, he moved silently through Zolle, firing bursts, throwing grenades, and creating the illusion that the entire Canadian army was invading. He contacted resistance members, captured dozens of bewildered Germans, and set the Gestapo headquarters on fire. The sheer chaos caused the German garrison to panic and retreat. By morning, Allied forces walked into Zolle without needing the planned artillery bombardment, saving thousands of civilian lives. Major received the Distinguished Conduct Medal. He later earned it a second time during the Korean War, becoming the only Canadian to win it in 2 separate conflicts. 1. Audie Murphy. On January 26, 1945, American forces near Holtzwihr, France, were attacked by heavy German armor and infantry. Second Lieutenant Audie Murphy, just 20 years old, commanded Company B. Facing overwhelming numbers, he ordered his men to fall back into the woods while he stayed behind at the forward post to direct artillery. Nearby, an American tank destroyer was hit and caught fire. Loaded with fuel and ammo, it was a ticking time bomb. Murphy looked at the burning vehicle and saw an opportunity. He climbed aboard and took command of its .50 caliber machine gun. He was now elevated, completely exposed, and targeted by fire from 3 directions. Yet, he continued calling in artillery strikes while spraying enemy infantry with machine gun fire. German rounds pinged off the burning vehicle. Murphy was hit in the leg, but he refused to move. For an hour, he held off waves of infantry and forced the tanks to pull back without ground support. At one point, a German squad crept within 10 yards, but Murphy eliminated them too. When his ammunition finally ran out, he climbed down from the burning wreck, walked back to his company, and organized an immediate counterattack. His Medal of Honor citation credited him with killing or wounding roughly 50 enemy soldiers and saving his unit from destruction. Unlike ancient mythology, Murphy's feat was rigorously documented by official military records and witnesses. Conclusion: armies are built on numbers, logistics, strategy, and massive chains of command. But every once in a while, all of that force arrives at a narrow bridge, a jungle path, a rooftop, or a burning tank, only to discover a single person who has decided the line ends there.